And this is a special broadcast. It's not a Tom London show. It's very independent of that. And it's, well, how do I put it? I've just come back from Pretoria, Tshwane, from the Government Communication Services building, the big one, in the big media room, the Ronnie Mamwepa media room. It was quite interesting and ironic when I walked into the Ronnie Mamwepa media room, because the last time I saw Ronnie Mamwepa, we were driving through the Pretoria CBD together on our way to have a lunch to discuss how to improve the lives of people in our country. I remember Ronnie was a smoker too. He smoked courtly satin leaf, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. So it was interesting walking into the Ronnie Mamwepa media room. I knew Ronnie personally, great man, and the late Ronnie Mamwepa. So it was interesting. I walked into a room of a guy that I knew him, and great human being, and from that generation of leaders, the 90s generation, where we were still hoping that everything was going to get fixed in South Africa, that we would get this right. We had some belief that we could pull together and make something work. And we've gone a long way as a country. I think we should be careful of saying we've gone backwards, because when you look at a city like Johannesburg, even though it's falling to pieces at the moment, and that can be fixed, right? But you look at how it's expanded, how the suburbs have grown, how many new developments have been. So we have been there has been progress, and we have moved forward as a country. Unfortunately, a lot of our systems are dysfunctional and they don't work properly, and people aren't being held accountable. And I think that's where my complaint well, I didn't make the complaint. Let me start off by saying, and by the way, Tanya, my great friend Tanya Curry, is with me, and I'm hoping she'll ask me some questions, so I don't just have to talk. But I've come back from the media briefing. The Health Ombudsman reports into my allegations came out. Let me just be clear that I never made a complaint to the Health Ombud. That's not how it works. The Health Ombud also monitors the media, and if the Health Ombud's office sees something in the media that they want to investigate, they'll go do it. So I never actually went to the Health Ombud's office and said I'd like to make a complaint. That was done on my behalf. And I think the Minister of Health in South Africa also asked the Health Ombud to take a look at my allegations. Now, my allegations were inside the video clip that went viral and was watched by almost all of South Africa in August last year. What did I allege in that video? I alleged my main allegation, and it still is to this day, and you're going to battle to persuade me otherwise. My main allegation is that I was not treated with the right amount of dignity by particularly the doctors at Helen Joseph Hospital. And that was my main gripe. I think right from the beginning, I said I was treated well in the casualty section by the doctors. They diagnosed me properly, although I spent 3 days there, which is in contravention of the OHSC and the guidelines for hospitals in South Africa. So,
and didn't you spend most of that time on the floor?
Floor, beds, examination rooms, wooden benches, wherever you can. I'm not the only person who's been through that. There are a lot of people who understand what I'm talking about. But I just want to make it clear, I never made these, I never went to the Ombud and said, investigate this. That's number one. It was done on my behalf. And then number two, the main allegation I made was that the doctors need to jack up when it comes to empathy, care, kindness, and basic manners. And I felt I had enough experience of that over 14 days, particularly in Ward 8. And after having observed what doctors were doing with other patients around me, I made that statement. I don't think the doctors are treating us properly, me and the people around me. So that was allegation number one, and probably the one that's closest to my heart, and the one that wasn't substantiated. It was unsubstantiated, so they found against me. And I'd like to spend a minute or two speaking about that. One, it would really tear me apart if the rest of the report wasn't so damn good. If I didn't respect the rest of this report, then I would harp on about this ad nauseum and fight and challenge and go bananas. But just for the purpose of to be able to record this and have it down, that you know where I stand on this. I believe the doctors needed to jack up, and still do around this country, need to jack up when it comes to how you treat your patients, not clinically, because clinically you seem to know what you're doing, not clinically. How you treat people, human beings, one-on-one. So the methodology that the Ombuds department used was to go to the hospital and speak to people in the ward that I was in. Now, I just want to
Imagine that.
Right, I just want to explain. Firstly, I want to explain what the ward looks like. When we say ward, you imagine this big ward. No, in the ward, there's a big wall separating two sections of the ward. It's the same ward, but there's a big wall. So if you're either on one side or the other. So bed 1, 2, 3, 4 on one side of the wall, bed 5, 6, 7, 8 on my side of the wall. In other words, on a daily basis, the people I see are bed 5, 6, and 8. 3 people. That's who I'm seeing most of the. And if I'm in bed, that's who I'm seeing, right? So I'm not sure who they spoke to, because the guy next to me was discharged a day or two before I left that hospital. The guy in bed 7 died, and the guy in bed 5, and I'm happy to stay on the record with this and go on a lie detector if they want me to. Was asking me to please help him get the doctor to listen to him because he was in so much pain and the doctor was not listening to him. So that's my experience of the people in the ward around me. I don't know who they spoke to, because the methodology was to go speak to people. Maybe they spoke to beds 1, 2, 3, 4 who only saw my face when I was going to the loo, for example.
Right.
So I don't want to seem as if I'm criticizing the health ombud, but
also, Tom, can I just say, like, if I was in Helen Joseph now and you had to come to me and say, is everybody treating you okay? You're not going to say no, are you?
No, people. Well, I mean,
if you're going to say no, I mean, I'd be scared to say no.
Most people are scared to kick up a fuss. So I would say, I don't. I think I really do appreciate the work that the health ombud has done here. But I would change the methodology when it comes to interviewing people to find out when it's a he said, she said. Because this is a he said, she said, right? This is Tom says, and then they go to the doctors, and the doctors say, no, we didn't do that, right? No, we treated him fine, okay? And then it's he said, she said. And then they go to some people who are on the periphery, perhaps, and say, how were you treated? Say, no, we were treated fine. I would change the methodology. I would interview people after they come out of hospital, not while they're in there. Because when you're in hospital, all you want is good care, and you don't want to jeopardize that. And then number 2, if you want to talk about doctors and their attitudes towards patients in Helen Joseph, I do a survey. I do like an exit survey with everyone who's coming out of the hospital to find out if they were satisfied with the way the doctors treated them. And then you'd get an accurate picture. But I think to speak to one person who was in the ward with me and a few others on the floor, I would change the methodology. So that was the one that they found unsubstantiated. They didn't find in my favor that the doctors that the doctors are lacking basic manners, really. That's what I'm saying.
Well, and what's interesting on that claim is when the story came out, didn't the head of Wits Medical School write to all his
Professor Modi wrote it and published it on... Sorry, you can see those are people trying to get interviews. Sorry, the call just got interrupted for a second. There's radio stations and people trying to get hold of me. But you are more important, my followers on Facebook and my friends. What was your point, Sonia? Sorry.
So I was saying, like, didn't the head of its medical school...
Professor Modi, he actually wrote a 2-page email reminding all students, past alumni, doctors under their care, the employee, that doctors are there to be kind and that they need to treat people the way they treat their own grandparents or family. I think that was something along those lines in the email. So, plus, and I mentioned to the media, plus the president said it in the State of the Nation address that the healthcare workers' attitudes need to improve. And the premier of the province said it last week to the president that there's poor service in hospitals. So, if it was only about that allegation
I think you're vindicated.
If it was only about allegation 1, then I would probably be crying right now. But I know that the president has spoken about it. I know that the premier has spoken about it. I know that tens of thousands of South Africans have spoken about it. I'm not sure if we are alive. We're live on Facebook. Okay. All right. We'll get to comments in a moment. So, that was allegation 1. Then there was the allegation that I had not been seen by a doctor for 48 hours. That's also semantics, I think. I keep saying and have kept saying that I wasn't seen by my doctor. I was assigned a doctor when I got to Ward 8. She was there for 2 days and she was rotated out of the hospital. Then I was assigned another doctor. And then that next doctor that I was assigned was with me for about 8 or 9 days. And that doctor stood at the end of my bed. The last time I saw that doctor, he stood at the end of my bed and he said, Mr. Holmes, you and I are going to see a lot of each other over the next couple of weeks while we fix you. You better be ready to see my...
Really?
Yeah. His words were, you better be ready to see my face every day. We need to get used to each other's faces. And I thought, wow, I've got a doctor here that's looking after me. And then I never saw him. The doctor for the floor, I think, saw me, just checked my stats and things. And then the next day I asked, where's my doctor? And the lady said, he's not your doctor anymore. You'll get a new doctor. He's writing exams and handed cases over, and I got upset about that. That's what I meant.
You.
Like, I felt I had a doctor, and then for at least 2 days I didn't have I was seeing the floor doctor,
the ward doctor.
And I felt that I did not have a doctor looking after me. What I'd seen before, sending me for CAT scans, telling me what was wrong. Telling me what could happen, etc. I definitely, for a few days, I didn't experience that. And so, yes, maybe a 23-year-old doctor came around and signed my charts, but there wasn't anyone coming and talking to me about treatment and diagnosis and stuff like that. By the way, I didn't know what my diagnosis was until I walked out of the hospital and implored the doctor who'd left me, run away or gone and done other stuff or whatever, and came down when I wanted to RHT, and I almost had to force a diagnosis out of the doctor. Plus, added to that were all my CAT scans, a referral letter that another doctor had written up, and I said, please, can I have that? The other doctor was going to give it to me, and then that doctor said, no, you can't have it. And so I walked out of the hospital with nothing. The doctors in the private hospital had to go and fetch those CAT scans from Helen Joseph in order to see what was wrong with me. So I just want to, when it comes to doctors and what they say and what they do, all the doctors that dealt with me were interviewed, and what they have to say is in the report, right? And
yes.
I looked at some of these things, and for example, the doctor that was treating me said that I never complained of diarrhea while under his care. The interesting thing here is that I actually bled out. I needed 2 blood transfusions.
I know, I was just about to say.
When I got to Morningside Clinic, I needed 2 bags of blood because I had bled out. In fact, this doctor who's written this here was the one who every morning used to ask me what the color of my stool was to see that there was no more blood in it. So I look at things like that and I think, hey, you guys cover your asses, don't you, hey? I would like my respect for doctors to grow, but when I read stuff like this, I think this is schoolboy stuff, right? And it's like doing silly things. Like there's a thing here in the report saying the doctor. I'm not going to mention the doctor's name, but you can read the report. You'll see it here. Doctor said he was worried that Mr. Holmes was a heavy smoker who claimed to have quit smoking 3 days before his admission at Helen Joseph. Now I never said 3 days before. I stopped smoking cigarettes 6 months before. I went to Helen Joseph. I switched to those e-vapes or whatever, and then 3 months later I stopped that, which was 3 months before I got sick and went to Helen Joseph. So there are little things like that people put in here, and I'm like, why do you do that? You turn 3 months into 3 days. Now, the report is out.
Weren't you listening? Were you listening when I spoke?
The contrast, right? the contrast dye scan they found against me there as well. They said, no, someone at the CAT scan machine saw something they didn't like, and it necessitated a contrast dye, the dye, or the medium, whatever you call it. But the thing is, the doctor that's mentioned in the report the day before was asking me if I'd ever had an arteriogram or etc. iodine dye before. So I think there's been a little bit of like. In my opinion, I think the doctors here have come off. The doctors have come off very, very lightly in the Ombuds report.
Squeaky clean.
It reminds me of when you have a problem at high school and a couple of people done something wrong, and then you get them all together and you say, we're going to talk to you tomorrow, but we want to know whether you did wrong, and then they get their stories straight. So it's like sometimes it looks like that. But anyway, those ones went against me. The body being left in the room for 4 hours went against me. That's once again. I mean, the hospital guidelines are that the hospital guidelines are that the body should not be left for longer than 2 hours. Right?
In case that person wakes up.
Sure. So the hospital says the body shouldn't be moved in 2 hours. Should be moved within 2 hours. I say that body was there for between 3 and 4 hours. That's what I say. I maintain. Right?
Yes.
They say
Yes.
they went and checked. There was a John Doe pulled into the mortuary at 2.5 hours after the time of death of the patient in bed number 6. 2.5 hours. That's already half an hour later than the SOP, right?
Yes.
So I don't know why they found against me. They should have found for me on that one, I feel. But at the same time, that guy had a name. His name was Nicholas van Buurik, not John Doe. So I don't know whose body the mortuary were telling them about, because he actually had a name and he was named. So, I mean, I could probably answer and go to town and have a field day answering these findings and challenging them, especially the ones they call my allegations. But
I love that. It's Tom's allegations.
Yeah.
It's the country's allegations.
But when I read the provisional report and I saw this, Tanya, and you know, because we had these discussions, I said to you that I wasn't going to challenge this, that I was going to let this go ahead as is, because the rest of the report is so important for this country that it's not worth Tom London's ego getting upset about whether the doctors were nasty or not. The rest of this report is so important to South Africa that I felt I didn't want to stand in this report's way at all. Like 6 months is very quick to get one of these reports out. It's got the attention
I am astonished.
Yeah, it's got the attention of everyone in South Africa. And if you poo-poo what Tom London says, that's fine. Is it a step forward for the country? Massive, because what they found inside Helen Joseph is astounding. That there's been no permanent CEO there for years and years and years, so there's no management. The HR department is a mess. There's no separation between procurement and payments, which is let's
just stop there.
Right?
Procurement and payment has no separation. How can that even be?
There's no clean linen because of problems with the Johannesburg laundry and payments, etc. So there's not enough linen, which contributes to the spread of disease. The conditions, I'm glad they found the flies, because people thought I was talking nonsense about the flies in the ward. They found the flies and they spoke about them, right? And they spoke about the unsanitary conditions, the water problems, the bars, etc. could all spread disease. Sometimes the kitchen has to cut the food in half and you get the same lunch and dinner because they didn't pay the supplier.
They haven't paid. Yeah.
The security is lackadaisy. Their leadership problems. There are about 250 or 300 vacancies in the nursing posts in that hospital. Massive staff shortages that haven't been filled. We can go on and on. People have pillaged. They've taken mortuary trays out of there. There's all sorts of things that have gone on. And then we find out that the reason we can't change a light bulb in a hospital in South Africa is because light bulbs don't fall under the hospital. You see, you have to call another department, and then that department has to one day come out and change the light bulb. That's why the lawn doesn't get mowed. That's why the light bulbs don't. That's why the taps don't get fixed, because there's no mechanic in the hospital who just goes along and does their thing. Sorry, there are so many people trying to call me, as you can imagine. So you're going to hear beep beeps and things along the way, because it's just media houses calling. So I mean,
Tom,
that was the one that got me. That we can't change the light bulbs and we can't mow the lawns, etc., and maintain the places, because I always get confused with these screens. Look, there it is, radio talk something or other. I don't want to end. You see, doesn't that confuse you, these screens on our phones when another call comes in? I don't know which button to press. Send to voicemail. There we go. That's like sending someone downstairs. Oh, man. So we can't change the light bulbs because there's no one in the hospital that can do it. You got to phone another department. And the minister said they've got to sort that out. And I hope that they do, because that will start fixing some things. And then the other one that came out, and it was weird. It was after all these findings came out. People, did you see that? The OHSC and Ombuds were using RWAP. What, RWAP or RWAPs or something? And you could see the whole room, including me, going, huh, what's that? And
What's
out it
that?
came,
Yeah.
and I don't even know if South Africans know this, right? But it seems as if you're a doctor, not a nurse. If you're a doctor and you work at a public hospital, you are then also allowed to go do work in private hospitals. So these doctors, they work in both. And there's no real control over how many hours they spend in the public hospital and how many they spend in the private hospital. And it turns out there were people in the audience, there might have been nurses that were going, yes, because it seems as if there are doctors that don't go to work on time. There are doctors that are busy in their own practices and they bill in the state. And there's this perception that doctors don't get paid enough in public healthcare, except I dated a doctor once and I knew exactly what that doctor earned in public healthcare, and it was more than some of my private practice friends. So they get paid well. And then they still open private businesses and do private work on the side. Policemen aren't allowed to do it. No one else in government service is allowed to do this, but the doctors are allowed to have two jobs. You're allowed to work for government and then you're allowed to do your own thing. And it turns out that's why when a doctor's late or when there's no doctor or they leave early or they can't find the doctor, that's why. They're busy working somewhere else. They're moonlighting.
It's called moonlighting.
Man.
It's actually called moonlighting.
And then what you and I have discussed in private before came up today, that in Parliament it was discussed, and one of the MPs who was a doctor said, well, be careful. Someone said, be careful, if you tell them they can't do the private work, they'll leave the country.
They'll leave.
So they'll blackmail us. If you don't let us do whatever we want, we will leave South Africa. And the minister and the parliamentarian was saying, oh, well, if they don't come to work anyway, what's the point? They can leave the country.
He said they left already.
They've left already.
He said, didn't he? Yeah.
So,
wow, Tom, do you feel like something actually? Do you understand the enormity of what happened today? Do you feel like something actually is going to happen now? I do.
I didn't challenge this report for the reason I told you. I didn't want to hold it up because what's in this report and the recommendations and the things that have to be done now. Like the management problems have to be sorted out.
Sure.
The nursing posts, they have to be filled. There are a lot of things that have to be done. It's now in black and white. What has to be done at Helen Joseph.
And it's got a deadline.
See, so I'm glad about that. I'm glad that there's something that says, and plus, don't forget, this is, there's the Ombud and then there's the OHSC, who are the people who are responsible for our health standards in South Africa. They're the ones that say you should do this, you need to do that, etc., etc. And of course, they can then take it to the minister, and they can start shaking the tree if it doesn't get done.
Yes.
But there are recommendations now, and so for me, if I put my ego, if I'm operating on ego alone, of course I'm not happy that people say no, unsubstantiated. But if I take my ego out of it and I go, well, was this worth it? Yes, because now perhaps Helen Joseph will get a CEO. Now perhaps they'll put proper HR policies in place, clean linen. Now perhaps you will start seeing linen on the bed. Maybe we'll see better food. And perhaps
maybe we'll see paint on the walls.
Right, and maybe we'll see some repainting. So in that respect, yes, I'm happy I've gone through all of this. And I don't enjoy it, I got to tell you. I don't like sitting in media briefing rooms with everyone watching the guy that started all the trouble. I don't like being told that I'm wrong. I really don't like being told I'm wrong, but then that's most of us. And I'd rather sit on my couch and watch Netflix like the rest of us. I'd rather stick my head in the sand. It's easier. But I've been unable to, and I've got a lot of people that
did a good thing, friend.
Get hold of me every day saying, keep going, Tom. So I kept going, and I hope that the result of all of this is that Helen Joseph Hospital will be the first hospital that we fix up, and there'll be others, and then we'll make our way through this health system and fix it up. Always said, this is not about Tom. This is about South Africa and the 87% or 83% of us that can't afford the 10,000 Rand medical aids that people
can't afford it.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. All right,
exactly.
All right. Let's go to comments.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm just glad I'm finished now. I'm going to watch TV tonight. Okay, Siri Smith, who I've asked to marry me a number of times and she just keeps refusing, says, hi, Tom. Agreed. I have, actually. Every time I speak to her, I ask her to marry me and she doesn't want it. Tavana says hi. Z says hi. Rosie says hi. Hi, everyone. And Tom. I was wondering if you saw Tom. Really disgusting. Thanks for what you did. Well, they are across most state hospitals. I said that to the media houses there, that I'm not speaking with my voice alone when I say we deserve better treatment. There are tens of thousands of people who've said the same thing, if not millions, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Deborah said, I was horrendously abused at Rand Hospital. See, there's another one of those voices that say you not treated properly. Jinergy, treating people badly, takes Sebo Keng. Rita Vorman, well done, Tom. I think this is the start of something big. I think so too. I think we are now starting to look at this issue as a country and go, we need to fix this and we won't take it. We need better. Chantal says, my parents were at the same hospital. I come to them many times. I have some horror stories about the experience there. I believe what you're saying, Tom. Deirdre Curry, Mrs. Curry, one of my favorite people on the planet. So proud of you.
Mommy.
That's your mother. Yes, that's right. That's right. She is. So proud of you, Tom. You opened a hornet's nest. Watching the reports is Marina Canole. Sharon says, shame on those doctors. I really think, doctors, you're not above the rest of us. Let me just explain something to you, okay? I have as much respect for the guy who separates the garbage at the end of my driveway as I have for anybody else. And I don't think doctors should be treated thank you. If you are someone and that's your calling to help, then I would like to bow to you and say thank you for serving us. But if it's about the money, and I gotta tell you, sometimes I'm thinking people are choosing medical school because they know it's a good salary and you can get a job anywhere around the world, and not like I used to see in the old days where it was people who cared if you hurt your finger. It was the little kid who came running to put a plaster on. That's the person who became the doctor. Now I don't know. Now it might be the kid who wants to drive the Ferrari. Might be. Barbara Allen, they'll always cover for each other. Look, I'm a Springs boy, and so I know what covering is, and I agree with you. I think the doctors do. Sharon says they all corrupt. Takes me back to the case of patients' mental issues. Medical staff in institutes have so much time to weak things. Yeah, I think so. We've been told they work so hard. That's the students that are doing their sweating years.
Yeah,
I think they're doctors. I've seen doctors come home at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I've wondered, how do you do this? And, you work for the government, you come home at 2:00 in the afternoon, you're a doctor. That's amazing. Your working hours are good. I've seen it with my own eyes. We've seen it. And I think the people who know it the best are the nurses. I think the nurses know how hard, which doctors work hard and which doctors don't. If you want to know which doctors are working hard and which aren't, go ask the nurses. They'll tell you. And
Tom, okay, let's not coat everybody with the same brush, because I know some doctors are actually retired that go back to just for service, and help in the government hospitals, and they work very, very, very hard.
Yes.
So.
Oh, I think I've got an interview with 702 that I promised, and I think I'm going to have to cut this short, unfortunately.
Oh no!
Well, shall we just keep shall we just keep it? Let's keep it. We'll run it live on our channel as well. We won't tell them. Here we go. Right. I'm going to hold. I'm going to hold you, Tanya. Right. John. John. Let's see. I can't hear him. Let's see if I plug that out, plug it in. I'll try and call him back. I'm supposed to be on the John Matham show right now. And I did promise it. 17:20. Let me call him back.
Hello, Bud.
Are you going to call me off 702's line?
Yeah, we're trying to call you now.
All right, call me. Okay.
Sweet. Bye.
Right. All right, so, basically you're getting to see the other side of a radio interview. So here we go. I will call Tanya back because I'm having fun. Except I don't know how long my phone battery will last. That's the only problem. Do I have another phone we can use? All right, so stand by. You and I are about to go live on 702. I'll read some... I think it's coming. Let's see. Unless I know what I'm up to. No. Okay, cool. Hello. Hello.
Yo, it seems as though there's a signal issue. We're phoning, but it's not ringing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Are you able to call me quickly on the 011-883-0702 number?
Yeah, I will. I'll call you now.
Okay. Call us now.
Okay.
Quick.
All right, sure. I don't know how much airtime I've got. Oh, man.
Hi, Tom London.
Hello.
Hi, Tom London. How are you?
I'm well. I can't talk right now. Who am I talking to?
Michelle from Newsroom Africa.
Michelle, I'm about to go on air with 702. Can you call me in about half an hour?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, my goodness. There's a whole lot going on here. Okay, how do I do this? I got to check if I've got prepaid airtime. I don't even know if I've got enough airtime to call 702. 2 cents. Let me put some airtime in quickly. Oh, that's funny. All right, so you might be watching this and having a ball right now. Okay, let's see. Who's this? Hello, Tom speaking.
Tom, good day. You're speaking to Seema from Mea Culpa and Q.
Okay, can you call me back in half an hour? I'm just about to go live with 702.
Yeah, no
Okay,
problem.
thanks.
Okay, bye.
Oh, man, do you see what happens? The moment I try and... Oh, no. The moment I try and put airtime in, another call comes on. And we're live. This is not very professional, but I hope you're enjoying this. In the meantime, I'm going to put some... Are you not getting through to me on a normal number?
Not getting through, no. So we're going to have to do you on the WhatsApp call here with the studio. Okay,
right.
I'm going to take you through now to John. Hold on.
All right, cool. Okay.
It's going to be a good idea. And then we're getting responsive as well to the issue, the question that were raised about Joburg and its greening. And this one, no name to it, but says, large hill in the Waterval suburb, Joburg, council-owned, could have made a magnificent nature walk for the poor folk there. It was sold off for a huge commercial and office site. And that's a key part of the debate, by the way, is, what do we actually do? What do we actually do with the green spaces we have, and how do we trade this off against the idea that...
John, do you want me to call you on 883 or 702?
...be used for economic purposes?
We're going to take you live now.
Okay. Do you want me to call you on 883 or 702?
It is also out there, and we've got a good number of people talking about it. Other ways in which we could save money and not have to raise VAT. But Simon has this view of what's going to happen and says, I think the finance minister is going to bite the bullet and announce the VAT increase with another eye looking at the majority in parliament not going to vote in its favor. When the country's fiscus goes dry, we should not come back and blame the ANC for that. I think there are lots of politics involved here that have nothing to do with the protection of the poor. We need cool heads. I think there are quite good cool heads out there. They seem to be certainly taking their time to get this done. 702 Drive, 25 minutes past 5.
John?
So, stepping in. Oh, no. Okay. Jonathan is here with a telephone, his cell phone. I thought he was going to speak to me. And in fact, this is because we've been battling to get hold of Tom London on our phone lines. So, Tom London, a very good afternoon too. We've invited you on the show because the Health Ombud looked into your complaints against the Helen Joseph Memorial Hospital.
Yes.
And found, I think, in the main against the allegations you've made. Overall, what are your thoughts in response? Good afternoon, and thanks for your time.
How's it? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can. Thank
All right.
you. Go ahead.
Look, I'm very happy. Look, I'll get to my individual complaints in a second, but if you take a look at the Ombuds report and the OHSC report, it's damning. This is a hospital that hasn't had a CEO for many years. This is a hospital where there's no separation between procurement and payment. This is a hospital where the linen is not being changed. And this has all come out in the report. This is a hospital where there are 200 to 300 nursing vacancies. This is a hospital where the security is laxy-daisy. This has all come out in the report and mentioned by the various stakeholders today. So the breadth and depth of this report, I believe, is impressive. It finally shines the light on our public hospitals and says this is what's wrong, largely management issues. As for the individual allegations, I think we'd probably spend an hour going through them, John. I'm not going to. But I will say this, that my big gripe was that I didn't feel I was being treated properly by doctors.
Yeah.
And the Ombudsman has found against me. They spoke to the doctors. The doctors said, no, we did treat him properly. And they spoke to one or two people in the ward, and they said they were treated properly. However, I would just say, here's my response. There are tens of thousands, if not millions of South Africans who feel like I do. There were tens of thousands who responded to the viral video and said, we also don't feel we've been treated properly. The president stood up in Sona. recently and spoke about the need for better attitudes amongst our healthcare workers. Those are the president's words. And last week, the Premier Lesoufi, spoke about poor service in our hospitals. So I agree with the president, I agree with the premier, and I agree with the tens of thousands of South Africans who say we could be treated better. And I respectfully disagree with the Ombudsman on that particular allegation and a few others. But I just felt this report was so important that it had to go ahead, whether my ego takes a bash or not. I'd love everyone to believe everything I say and say Tom London is right. But at the end of the day, I thought that this report was just, I didn't even want to challenge it. It is so damning and explosive that it needs to get out there. And I hope it will provide the change we need in our hospitals.
Tom London, thank you. Responding to the findings around both his specific allegations, but also the world does deal with other general points.
Thanks, Jajan.
Yeah, no worries. Hope all is well otherwise, eh?
Yeah, well, we'll catch up soon. Thanks, mate.
Okay, buddy. Take it easy.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye.
So interesting there. The voice you were listening to there was my old call screener when I worked at 702. And you were, so there you go. That's what it's like to be on the other side of a radio interview. I do want to spend another few minutes because the batteries are all about to go dead on my devices. But I do want to spend the next few minutes chatting to Tanya. So I'm going to call Tanya and I'll also put up some of your messages. And then we'll close for the day and we'll do our show tomorrow. Tom London shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Okay, so let's call Tanya, and then I think those other people are going to start calling me just now. Oh boy, let's call Tanya. See what it's like? See, I mean, I just want to sit on the couch and watch YouTube. What have I done? I get back to Tanya now. Oh, there you go. See, this is what's happening. You know, you love it. I don't. 2 days ago, I was saying to Tanya, you know what's going to happen? They're going to be calling me left, right, and center. Tom London, they said you were talking nonsense. I don't want to do it. And Tanya said you have to. Huh? You see what's going on?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I saw that mayhem going on in the back of the studio, and I love that. That's the stuff I'm talking about. Yes, man. Let's make some noise. It's about time.
All right. Let me go through some of your comments quickly. My brother says the media there today were spineless. None of the journalists asked any questions challenging or probing the report. I think the reason is that no one had seen the report. The report was handed out at the end of the media briefing, so none of the journalists had time to read the report yet. They some of the things I've mentioned to you now, they didn't know yet. The report was handed out at the end of the briefing. But you're not the only one who said that, Greg. Other people are saying there were only 3 questions from the media. That's crazy. But I will say, and hats off to the SABC. I was watching the SABC journalist interview the minister, and she was giving him a go. And that's our state broadcaster. I thought, wow, public broadcaster, well done. Skabangas, says Tess. We all know what Skabangas. That's funny. I'm an outpatient now here in Joseph. When I saw a doctor, I told him I was having sharp pains in my heart, and he told me to get a bigger bra, says Marilyn Ellis.
No.
See? So we know, man. Come on. That's right. Many doctors have 2 jobs. So much for the oath they've taken.
Yeah. Like, really?
Moira says, I shook up the health services in general. She says, I emailed an article you used to reach the private health sector. Well done, man. No matter what they say, you rocked the boat. I think we did. When I say it's not me. It's like me and tens of thousands of people that watch the videos and share them, get involved in our cases and causes. Please check out Addington Hospital. You see, there's another person saying it's not.
There
and
we
the journalists were saying that as well, saying, listen, it's not just those. Margaret Guida says, wow, let's see where we go on this. You've knocked them out of their socks. Hope the journalists don't drive you crazy. I like journalists. I got no problem with journalists. There was a very cute journalist. I was looking. She came and interviewed me. Her name was Bernadette. I just can't remember where she's from. She was very pretty. And 1 or 2 others. There was a lady from the Sowetan Live. She was also pretty, but I don't know. Maybe they got partners or something. Helen Metro says you did more than most people. You like that. Tom's looking for a girlfriend, even on a tough day like that.
Even when he's going to see the Ombudsman.
That's right, I was. Really. I was. It was pretty journalists,
Minister of Health, DG.
And girlfriends.
And Tom's still scouting for a girlfriend.
I know she was very pretty. I said, what's your name? She said, Bernadette. And I said, don't do it, Thomas. Don't do it. Don't flirt. Don't flirt. You're here to do serious business. And so I didn't. I didn't flirt. Tom, Newsroom's interview mentioned you were not in casualty as mentioned. Now, there's something wrong there because the finding was for me. There were some findings for me, and that was one. That I was in casualty for 3 days, and it was a contravention of the Act. So, or the OHC, blah, 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 regulations, right?
In fact, I must say, in Newsroom's defense, they've done some seriously good interviews.
No, I'm happy with. I got no problem with Newsroom. I got no problem with the media. Margaret says the newer doctors are often into the money, while the old schoolers work a regular day of 12 hours. You're a wanted man. Laugh out loud, says Chantel. Wish I was wanted by the pretty girls. I'm having a good laugh watching you maneuvering these calls, Chazelle. Sorry, you had to go with me on that 702 interview there.
That was cute, though.
Right, it was real reality. Keep going, Tom London. This is a whole new take on, that's you, on simulcast broadcasting. Yes. Tom,
because
you are still...
you didn't even have simulcast, because remember 702 and Cape Talk are the same. So it's simulcast plus Tom London
crazy,
show, plus Tonya Curry's page.
Crazy, eh? Technology, boss. Have you totally recovered from your operation, Tom? I don't think so. I was talking to Tonya just now. I don't feel 100%. And maybe the stress of all of this hasn't been good the last couple of days. So I'm looking forward to feeling a bit better. Anyway, so that was today.
You did it, Tommy.
They didn't believe me that the doctors were nasty to me.
Oh, that they were mean. It's okay, because they did believe you that Helen Joseph is not fit for purpose, and that's the most important thing. You know, it's time, guys. And there's a deadline written
I'm
there.
happy for our country, because you know what this proves?
Me too.
Here's what this proves, right? At the end of the day. Because we'll all go to sleep tonight, and then by next week, when we've had 7 sleeps or whatever, we would have forgotten most of what we've spoken about today. That's human nature. But what I hope we don't forget is, can you see what one person can do?
Yes, sir.
Can you see what one person and a whole lot of others who say, yes, us too, can do in this country and in this world? If enough of us feel strongly about something, we can stand up and say, we don't like this. We need to talk. We need to change this. We can get people to pay attention. And if enough of us do it, we can change things. We cannot wait for other people to change things for us. We got to be part of the change. It hasn't been easy. I don't want to be a media target, or I don't want to be a media darling because of a health problem. I was forced into a situation where I just felt I had to speak. I wasn't happy with what I saw around me, and I thought I deserved more, and I thought South Africans deserve more. So at the end of the day, even if the Ombud disagrees that I deserved more, the Ombud and the standards, what do you call it, OSHC?
HOC.
It's a very difficult one to get right. The compliance and standards people. They've said it. They've said it
straight.
They've said it
in black and white.
Places messed up and needs to be changed. So I'm glad about that, and that's what we can do. This isn't the first and the last time that someone's going to have to stand up and highlight a problem. This isn't the first and the last time as South Africans we're going to have to look at these problems and figure out how to deal with them, and we haven't even dealt with this one yet. The proof is still going to be in the pudding in the future when we walk into Helen Joseph and see the places improved and the walls are painted and the baths are fixed.
And there's no flies.
And there are no flies and there's linen on the beds and the food is better and people are getting better treatment. That's what I'm in this for. So, I'm glad. I'm happy. I said to the media and I said to everyone this afternoon, I'm happy. I would have loved them to say, yes, the doctors didn't treat you nicely, Tom, but it's okay. They found out, and we found out that our hospital here in Joburg, called Helen Joseph, is in serious need of fixing, and that's good.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy about that.
Absolutely.
I'm very,
and there's a
very
deadline
happy.
on it.
There's a deadline on all of these things. Deadlines on sorting out the human relations, HR issues, deadlines on fixing linen. There's deadlines on everything. So I'm hoping we'll get most of that right and Helen Joseph will improve. If that's the case, I'm happy to take the flak on behalf of the average South African who's got fall from time to time. Yeah.
Tom, where can we get our hands on that report?
I think you can go online. You can go to the Ombuds website and it's there.
Maybe we should share that. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, we'll
like
do.
for the layman to read it too, because when I read it, I was like, wow, that is a serious report.
Yeah, you get,
right?
it is a good report. It is a
You
good
feel
report.
better once you've read it. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a very, 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 very good report.
Well done, Tom.
I don't know whether I deserve well done. I just...
You do deserve well done.
I honestly don't know. But anyway, it's thanks to friends like you, Tanya, and the people who stood with me through all of this. We may not have got everything we wanted today, but we took a giant leap forward as a country today, because we took a look at a hospital, we opened up its chest, and we saw the disease, and now everyone has spoken about it. Everyone acknowledges it, and we all know we have to fix it now. Nobody can hide. Not even the doctors.
I think that's it. I think I said again, well done, Tom London. And well done to the people that stood behind you.
Well done, South Africa.
Done, Tom.
I want to say this. I'm not a politician and I don't belong to any political party. But if I was a politician, I'd want to thank all of the people who voted for me. I would say, well done, South Africa. Can you see what we can do when we stamp our feet and kick up some dust? Let's not be afraid to engage as South Africans. I'm not going anywhere. There's no golden visa for me lying around, and I don't want to go anywhere. I love my country. I'm a proud patriot. I'm a South African.
Nice.
I'm here to fix things. And if it means I need to scream and shout every now and then, I'll do just that. And if I have to do that on other people's behalves, I'll do that too. So there we go. I mean, that's what you wanted. That's what you got. Okay, nice. Tanya, I think I've got to go. The battery's about to fall, run flat. And that's
baby
it.
Hearts,
Baby
Tom.
Hearts, catch you on the show tomorrow. And to you, especially to you, as you watch this broadcast, if you've made it so far, thank you for your passion. I see this passion every time I read the comments in the comment section. I see the passion every time I meet someone who says, hey, Tom, I watch your show. I see the passion every time I see someone and meet someone and say, well done for speaking up, thank you, etc. I see the passion that we share for our country and the passion we've got as South Africans to dream of a better country, of better healthcare, of better education, of better security, of a better life for all in South Africa. We can't do it by fighting each other. Let's not copy the rest of the world and destroy ourselves and our countries in trying to get forward. We can only do this by working together. And so that's my message this afternoon. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some. I'm going to win some, I'm going to lose some. The doctors are going to win some, they're going to lose some. The minister's going to win some and lose some. The hospital will win some and lose some. Let's accept our victories and let's accept our defeats in the spirit of moving forward as South Africans. That's my message to you this afternoon. We're all South African. We should remember that when we get up in the morning. Our hospitals are for everyone. We need decent healthcare in South Africa. Thanks for watching. I'll be back on the air with Tanya and Alistair tomorrow at 3 p.m. for a Tom London show. I really, really do reserve all my thanks to you. If you have shared any of the videos, if you have liked them, if you've spoken to people about it, if you've become concerned about healthcare in our country, if it has meant something to you, then you helped carry this torch that got this investigation into the bowels of that hospital, past my complaints, into the bowels of that hospital, to show South Africa what is wrong. Now we know what's wrong. Now we need to fix it. So see you tomorrow, 3 p.m.